So the next individual of study in the Renaissance will be William Harvey. Now, obviously, judging from the name, William Harvey was British. He was English, and England is about as far away in Europe as you really can go in our story from Italy, and it shows how the Renaissance spread outwards from Italy, moving further and further as it travelled. Now, there is a connection, however, between William Harvey and Italy that we will explore a little later. Okay, so the learning objectives for today then. You're going to, in the same vein as the previous lessons that you've studied, what you're going to do is you are going to do the research yourself on William Harvey. You're going to extract the key information from a sheet that we're going to provide with you, and you're going to tackle the issues of who was he, why was he important, and why were his ideas not as accepted in his lifetime as they would be consequently. So this idea, again, of a short-term and a long-term interpretation of William Harvey and his significance. And then finally, again, what you're going to do is which factors contributed to William Harvey's being successful. And for the more able, again, of those factors, is it possible to establish a ranking or a hierarchy of importance in terms of those factors? Literacy, obviously, reading for meaning. Now then, move on. The key information here then about William Harvey over here on the right. And again, you can see his name up there, and again, written in Latin, again, showing the importance of understanding Latin and of education. If you keep remembering, we keep constantly harping on about the fact that the Renaissance really only affected you initially if you happen to be wealthy, happen to be educated, and you happen to be a man. For most ordinary people, the Renaissance simply passed them by. So, William Harvey, 1st of April 1578 through to 1657, a very long-lived man, and again, possibly we can explore that as well. Why is it that the men that we're studying are seemingly living longer? William Harvey then was fascinated by the way the blood flowed through the human body, and he published an anatomical study of the motion of the heart and of the blood in animals in 1628, in which he explained how blood was pumped from the heart throughout the body and then returned to the heart and recirculated. So it's the circulation of the blood. He published essays on the generation of animals in 1651, which is also considered as the basis for modern embryology. So this is a man who was a pioneer in many respects of medicine. Now then, your task, read through the information sheet on William Harvey, and in this instance we are suggesting that you attempt storyboarding to ascertain whether or not this would be a useful tool for your learning or not. For each of the paragraphs on the information sheet, you should write one sentence to summarize what it says. Remember, we've talked about taking a great body of information and synthesizing and simmering it down to a core piece of information, maybe a word, a sentence, a date, or even a picture, depending on how you best learn. For each sentence you've written, you should draw one picture to support your sentence to help you remember the information. You should colour each of your pictures, because possibly, again, colour could be a stimulus for helping to remember. Once that activity is done, move on to the conclusion questions. Why did his work have limited importance at the time? Try to give at least two reasons and some analysis as to explain why it meant his work was of limited importance. What factors helped Harvey to make his discovery and to be successful? And then finally, to conclude, overall, how important was he in his contribution to the history of medicine? Try to provide some analysis in your answer. And again, on this particular question, please be thinking again in the terms of the short term and the long term. Okay, some guidance. What factors helped Harvey to make his discovery? Different factors, how did they? It's there. And then to conclude and to reflect.